Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla News, episode 178. Volkswagen is saying there is a strong customer reluctance to EVs. But Tesla beats all-time highs in Q2 and has the best-selling car on the planet. Yeah, let that one sink in, Volkswagen. And Rivian also beats expectation, and Tesla also sets new records in China, and Tesla has added officially support for third-party service and apps. And we got another nail in the coffin for hydrogen. And GM's ramp up of EVs is going backwards. I mean, come on. And Ford's EV sales also slipped in Q2. All of this and much more in today's episode. So let's dive right in.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.
Tesla broke all records once again with Q2 numbers. Tesla delivered 466,000 units and produced about 480,000 units. That is up 83.5% and 85.5% respectively. So a significant beat of Wall Street's expectation of about 445,000 units. And maybe for the first time ever, Tesla stocks actually rised after the good news from Tesla. It usually tanks every time Tesla shares some good news. But this time around, there was just no hiding it. This was just above expectations. Of course, not above my expectation. I was off about 3.5%. So I have made some adjustment to my prediction model, and we shall see if I can get a bit closer in Q3. But I did make a whole video about this week, so I will leave a link down below if you want to take a look at the many nice numbers and graphs that I showed off in that videos that just showed how well Tesla is doing and put the short sellers and haters to shame. But do you remember back in March that we heard about Tesla getting to 4 million vehicles totally produced cumulatively? Well, that number, the Model 3 and Y combined, should have already passed themselves during the first days here of July. According to Tesla's production data, going back to the first recorded quarterly production of the Model 3 in Q3 2017, the vehicles hit 4 million produced across the two models. That's pretty impressive. No other EV models come even close to this. Not even a fraction. Not even all the Volkswagen Group's many models combined. The whole ID family, Audi's many models, Skoda, Seat and so on will not even have sold half over the same period, as the Volkswagen Group has not even made that many EVs in their existence. But Tesla also made new records in China. Yes, the growth year over year was enormous because of the lockdown last year, but set that aside, because Q2 was not just good because of a low Q2 last year. Q2 in China was the best quarter ever for Tesla in China. So even with all the competition everybody is screaming about and the trouble in the Chinese car market, Tesla did not fall, as so many analysts were saying Tesla is doomed in China. But I guess Tesla did not get that memo, because they just made the best quarter ever, globally and in China. Their wholesales was a new record, and their domestic sales was a new record, beating the old record with almost 15%. As I reported last week, Tesla should get a nice bit over the 150,000 in domestic sales, and they did deliver 158,000 units in Q2 in China, and the wholesales hit the new high of 247,217 units. This is an annual run rate of about 1 million cars. So the Shanghai factory is probably running at max or close to max capacity right now. So we should not expect much more growth from that factory as of now. But as we can see on this chart from Roland as well, with Tesla's insurance number, Tesla has smoothed out the delivery waves in China. So that is very cool to see, that they are not making these big end of the quarter push anymore in China. So Tesla is executing on what they said they would. So new records without the end of the quarter push. Not bad. But let's pause right there. Let's just take 1 minute break to get a quick word from today's sponsor, Blinkist. You probably heard me rave about them before. You know, the cool app that filters an entire book into bit-sized summaries or blinks that are just 10 to 15 minutes long. Perfect for us busy bees. But guess what? There is a new feature called Blinkist Spaces. Imagine your own personal book club right there at your fingertips. Blinkist Spaces allows you to create a virtual space with your friends and family where you can share and recommend titles to each other. And the awesome part, even without Blinkist Premium subscription, all members can access every title shared within the space. So guess who got their own Blinkist space? Yours truly, of course. I've created Best in Tesla Learning Space, where I'm sharing my top picks whether you want to level up your health or learn innovative thinking from the incredible Simon Sinek or just master the art of learning. So click the link below to sign up for a 7-day free trial and get a whopping 25% of Blinkist annual premium using my promo link down below. But wait, there is more. Also find the link to my shared spaces Best in Tesla Learning Space. So, my friends, treat yourself to the treasure trove of knowledge with Blinkist. Come join me and together let's make every day a day of growth. And a huge shout out and thanks to Blinkist for sponsoring this video. Yes, Tesla broke all their previous records, but of course, mainstream media had to find a way to spin this good news into something negative. And CNN tried with, but BYD did better. Tesla is no doubt keeping the title as the biggest EV maker on the planet, as their biggest rival is of course BYD, and they did in Q2 deliver 352,163 BEVs globally. And in the first half of 2023, BYD has delivered 616,810 BEVs against Tesla's 889,000 units. So Tesla is still about 45% bigger than BYD. Just if you see some headlines about BYD selling 1.2 million electric vehicles, that does include hybrids. But BYD is really the only one that is close to Tesla, but Tesla is still the one leading, as BYD is still only big in China and still have to prove that they can become a big player globally. And here in Europe, their BYD Han is priced way too high, so that would not help BYD whatsoever to make a lot of sales, as we can also see it doesn't. So far this year, the Han has only sold about 143 units. For comparison, the Model Y is closing in on 100,000 units, so that model is about 800 times more successful in Europe than the BYD Han. So let's see if BYD can continue its insane growth they have had over the last couple of years, as 95% of that growth comes from China. But BYD did grow a bit more in percentage than Tesla, as BYD grew 95% in deliveries and Tesla only grew 83.5%. But if we look at the volume, Tesla actually grew with more units, as BYD went from 180,286 to 352,163. So BYD grew with 171,897 units, where Tesla went from about 254,000 units to 466,000 units, so up about 212,000 units. So Tesla did actually grow with a bit more units in sale than BYD did. And we can see that BYD is not growing as fast as they did last year, as in Q1 BYD was actually down compared to the Q4, where Tesla still grew quarter over quarter. And the growth from November last year to June this year is only about 9.5%. I know you don't normally compare months like this, But this is just to see how much they have grown in production since the end of last year, and this is kind of a way to give a little indication, as if we did the same last year, they did grow a bit more, both in percentage and units, so they are not really outpacing Tesla in units right now. So let's see how Q3 and 4 goes, if BYD can keep up with Tesla's growth, with Tesla having 2 big factories ramping up the best-selling car in the world that is doing about 800 times better in Europe than their BYD Han. But it will all not matter anymore when Tesla solve full self-driving, as BYD's CEO does not believe in autonomous vehicles, as I reported on before. But this week, Ray for Tesla shared a video clip of BYD's CEO confirming it once again. So, as one that does believe in the full self-driving car, I think BYD's days in the sun might be counted. Unless they start licensing software from Tesla, of course, or someone else. But if that is the case, the race to become the most dominating force in the car industry will still belong to Tesla. So yes, I do believe BYD could become the second biggest automotive company on the planet. But as they are not preparing whatsoever for an autonomous future, it could be very short-lived. Volkswagen is about to make the same mistake they made around the world, but now in South America. Volkswagen has announced a 1 billion euros investment for electric vehicles offensive in South America, planning to introduce electric models and flex fuel vehicles. However, this article from Reuters raises concerns about Volkswagen's strategy. The total market share of pure BEV vehicles in 2033 is estimated at around 4%. You have got to be kidding me. Tesla will break ground in this quarter on their Latin America factory in Mexico, which will have a capacity of probably around 3 to 4 million affordable EVs when ramped up. Tesla will no doubt be shipping some of these cars to South America to kickstart the EV revolution down there as well. There are only about 4.4 million vehicles sold in South America every year, so the people that are saying that there will only be about 4% BEV market share in South America by 2033 is going to be way off, as many were 10 years ago with the adoption of EVs we have today. But as Tesla on their own could just send about 176,000 of those 3 to 4 million vehicles they make in Mexico to South America, and Tesla on their own would sit on 4% of the car market by the end of this decade. Who are these experts that are predicting these numbers? It is embarrassing to say the least. And Volkswagen will once again not be ready for what awaits them in South America when Tesla turns on production in Mexico in only about 18 months or so. However, by 2025, Volkswagen aims to launch not only electric vehicles but also 15 new so-called flex fuel vehicles. These internal combustion engines are compatible with ethanol and gasoline or any mix thereof. But let's not fool ourselves. Study shows this is mere greenwashing. Volkswagen's investment in South America could prove to be misguided unless the company re-evaluates its approach. The strategy needs to be more ambitious with electric vehicle, take into account the environment implication, and be more in tune to customers' preference. The automotive industry is rapidly moving towards sustainability, and Volkswagen need to keep pace or possibly realign its strategy to reflect market trends and environmental considerations. I did make a whole video about this week, so if you want to learn more, don't forget to check that one out, link down below. Yes, Volkswagen is seeing demand problems for BEVs, but JPR007 on Twitter just tweeted a bunch of nice charts showing how much BEVs are actually growing. As he wrote, we now have the result for BEV globally sales through May 2023. 3.335 million BEVs has been sold this year through May. This is about 1 million more BEVs in the first 5 months of the year. We can see that the growth has stabilized over the last 3 months from the very high after COVID records, and is still growing with a compound annual growth rate of 57.4% per annum. I did report in last week's news shows how Volkswagen is cutting EV production and workforce due to slowing EV demand, but now in this article in the Telegraph this week, Volkswagen blames their EV production cut on strong customer reluctance to EVs. Sorry, Volkswagen, nobody is going to buy that. You know Tesla's Model Y is the best-selling car on the planet, right? And that is an all-electric car. And BEVs are growing with a compound annual growth rate of 57%. And now you're lowering your target with 30% because of demand problem. Volkswagen, you don't see that there's something wrong with this picture? I do hope people will be able to see what is happening right now. Tesla is growing fast, BEVs are growing fast, but Volkswagen is slowing EV production and cutting workforce. Ford is cutting workforce and GM is cutting workforce, and Tesla continues to build new factories and hiring more people. There is a shift happening right now in the automotive industry, and the old guys are not able to hide it anymore. Tesla and the Chinese are taking over and rising rapidly, while the old legacy automakers are shrinking as they are not keeping up with the EV demand. And in Volkswagen's case, they are simply just not making the EV that people want. We got another big nail in the coffin for hydrogen this week, but BMW still believes they can take on Tesla with hydrogen cars. BMW is feeling the heat as they cannot keep up in the EV game, so they still want to stand out, and boy, they will, as they are still betting on hydrogen and will beat Tesla with hydrogen. And Jürgen Güllner, General Program Manager for Hydrogen at BMW, said, "Putting all your eggs in one basket is not the right thing to do." So what do you call it when you're making only fossil fuel cars for the last 100 years? Is that not putting all your eggs in one basket? But when a new thing comes along that is better, it is not the right thing to do, because you are too late to ramp up EV production. Sure. And BMW did ask the UK government to help put up hydrogen station, but Shell has just turned down 3 hydrogen stations in the UK as they were too expensive to keep running, as there are hardly any customers for them. BMW, this foolish pursuit for hydrogen will be your downfall, because we have also just got yet another nail in the coffin for hydrogen this week, as one of hydrogen's most bullish advocates, billionaire Andrew Forrest, iron ore mining company Fortescue Metal Group, which include green hydrogen developer Fortescue Future Industry, believe that batteries will be a better option for the industry's haul trucks. So batteries are a better option than hydrogen for mining trucks, says iron ore mining company. As I showed a couple of years back, this big e-dumper that could run all day as it drove up the mountain empty and down the mountain fully loaded, so it could regenerate all the energy on the downhill ride it needed to get back up. So there it was just ideal. But even for normal mining dumper, it still makes a lot more sense than hydrogen ones. The opinion is surprising, as Fortescue's boss Andrew Forrest is one of the world's most bullish advocate for hydrogen, and off-road vehicles are often said to be a good use case for hydrogen. As Andrew said, the biggest reason for that is that you don't use direct electrification if you need to have hydrogen. Hydrogen requires triple the amount of power to do it, so you need a lot more generation capacity, a lot more land disturbance, and more transmission, so there's a lot of inefficiencies. Yes, as I have made a lot of videos about, the last one called The Truth About Hydrogen. I will leave a link down below to that one so you can share it with all the uninformed persons out there that still believes hydrogen is the future. Yes, just as Scania, which developed both hydrogen and pure electric trucks, came to the same conclusion. Electric was the way to go even for trucks, so they have dumped the hydrogen idea altogether. And now, one of the most bullish people on hydrogen are even seeing the light for mining trucks as well, as hydrogen is simply too inefficient. Like I showed in my last videos about the Tesla semi-truck, If Pepsi had got Hyundai's new hydrogen truck, it would cost them about 15 times more to fill it up than to fill up the Tesla semi-truck. It will never make sense. It is too inefficient and too expensive. But BMW, good luck. The auto industry is hitting rough seas while Tesla sails ahead. German automakers are facing the worst prospect since the 2008 financial crisis. German automakers have just hit a red light. The Munich IFO Institute has reported that business prospects for German car industry plummeted dramatically in June. This marks the 5th consecutive decline, signaling troubled times ahead. But that's not all. Despite the traditional automakers are contemplating rising prices, especially in the electric vehicle segment. This year, Tesla has been cutting prices, effectively forcing other automakers to either follow suit or risk losing market share. For instance, if Volkswagen raises their price of the ID.4, it will become more expensive than Tesla's Model Y. With the Model Y being superior in performance and technology and pretty much everything, consumers are likely to gravitate towards it. This put the traditional German automakers in a dilemma. And we can see the trend very visually here for the German auto market. Everyone is down in the first half of 2023 compared to the first half of 2019's highs. Only Porsche is up 30% and Tesla is up 486%. Everyone else down. Tesla's dominance is a crucial factor in shaping the industry's future right now. The world is inevitably moving towards electric vehicles, and traditional automakers have to adapt not just in technology, but also in marketing strategy and pricing models. Tesla has already buckled up and has taken the driver's seat. It's a race for the others to keep up or be left in the dust. And let's squeeze in the last short news topics into this news show. Yes, it's time for the Tesla Shorts. Last week I talked about how we should expect some big new records from Tesla in Australia. And boy, did they deliver. A lot of cars. Tesla reported 7,018 units in Australia and took 5.6% market share in June. Best month ever, up 57% versus last month. Best quarter ever, up 46% quarter over quarter, and 450% year to date versus same period last year. And year to date is 131% of last year's total. Tesla is doing extremely well in Australia, and the EV market share in June was 8.8% compared to less than 2% last year. EVs are rising fast, and the Model Y is now the second best-selling car in Australia. Nice. And Tesla keeps pulling away from the competition in my country of Denmark as well. And they sit on the #1 spot of best-selling brand in the country, and mostly thanks to the Tesla Model Y. So far in 2023, the Tesla Model Y has accounted for 83% of Tesla Denmark's total sales and is the best-selling model in my country by miles. But Tesla's Model 3 is actually also a top 4 of the best-selling cars in my country. And Tesla is actually gaining momentum in Denmark, as in June, Tesla had 15.5% market share in Denmark. And Model Y was the #1 and Model 3 was the #3 of the best-selling cars in June. And year to date, Tesla sits on 12.3% market share in Denmark. Pretty impressive. And the story is the same in my neighboring country of Norway, where the Tesla Model Y was the best-selling car overall in Norway in the first half of 2023. Tesla sold more Model Y units than the 5 closest competitors combined. Tesla is even the best-selling EV automaker group in Norway, even though they are not a group. Yeah, Tesla is just taking over in Scandinavia. But so has EVs in general, as my other neighbor, Sweden, now has almost 60% plug-in sales and BEVs is almost 40%, so about 8% in front of my country. But once again, Tesla is king. The Model Y destroys everything else. Even in Sweden, Volvo can't keep up. Yeah, Scandinavia belongs to Tesla now. And Tesla is far from done. Remember, there is also many markets Tesla is not even in. And already the Model Y is the best-selling car in the world. But now we can add yet another country in Asia to the list, as Tesla is opening in Malaysia. And Elon keeps training with Lex Fridman, and Elon wrote, really fun, the obvious conclusion is that I need a lot more training. And guess what? Rivian also gave its Q2 numbers, and they produced 13,992 vehicles and delivered 12,640. This represents a 48% increase in production and 59% increase in deliveries quarter over quarter, also higher than expected. That brings the total number of vehicles produced to almost 50,000 since they started production, and Rivian still believe they can hit their target of 50,000 units this year. And the Washington Post even made this headline: strong sales for Tesla, Rivian signals growth in EV interest, analysts say. But Volkswagen is saying there is a strong consumer reluctance to EVs. Yeah, only Volkswagen's EVs. So as I said in last week's news show, it seems to be only Volkswagen that sees a slowdown as the rest of the EV industry is still rising. So it's not a lack of demand for EVs, it's a lack for demand for inferior products like the ID family. And we have a good sign of production increase of Giga Berlin, as Tesla now includes Midnight Cherry Red and Quicksilver as an option for the Model Y rear-wheel drive. Before, those two colors were only available for the long-range and performance models. And in June, the pure EV market share was 18%. No one of the legacy automakers are at 18%. You know what that means, right? And according to Not a Tesla app, Tesla has added official support for third-party service and apps. So could this mean that we have a Tesla app store on the horizon? I hope so, because that would be really cool and could do for Tesla what the App Store did for Apple. As right now, if you own an X or S, you do have access to Stream, which turns your car into a gaming console. But to get all kinds of apps for all the other models as well would be a real game changer to the infotainment system in a car, as Tesla already has Disney+, YouTube, Netflix and so on, but we could get much more much faster if they open it up to third parties as well. And another week, another one joins Tesla supercharging standard. This week it is yet another state, as Kentucky joined Texas and Washington as the third state that would like to see Tesla's North American charging standard charging connectors alongside CCS at public funded fast charging stations. And if you wonder, why does everybody want to use Tesla's chargers? Well, this video shows it the best. How easy it is to charge your Tesla. So easy that a 6-year-old can do it. Yeah, let me see a 6-year-old get your Mark E charging at an Electrify America charger. Exactly. Too complicated, even for some adults. And Tesla Europe shared this tweet: delivered our 100,000th vehicle in France. 0 to 50,000 deliveries, 13 years. 50 to 100,000 deliveries, 16 months. Now that is what I call exponential growth. And after 1.5 years of ramping up production, GM really got their Hummer EV flying off the production line. GM delivered 47 Hummer EVs in all of Q2, down 82.7%. How is this even possible? But I will bet CNBC will make some headlines that says Hummer EV sales are up 23 times from Q1, where they sold only 2. They were supposed to be the experts in manufacturing, right? GM only sold 15,652 EVs in the US in Q2. And again, the Bolt they will discontinue stood for most of those sales, as the Lyric also only delivered 1,348 units. So GM was able to ramp up from 20,700 in Q1 to 15,652 in Q2. No, wait a minute. That is actually going the wrong way. So they are ramping down? Rivian is producing almost as many EVs as GM now. Marry M. embarrassing. And Tesla sold about 13 times more EVs in Q2 than GM did. I'm just lost for words. This is so bad, it's sad. Is this a tragedy or comedy we are seeing play out? Not sure, but it's not good. And Ford EVs are also slipping. EV sales for Ford fell 2.8% during this quarter, with Mustang Mach-E sales declining by 21.1%. I guess the Model Y price cut are really hurting the Mach-E. And the E-Transit electric van are also falling by 3.8%. Ford said the Lightning sales was up 119% in Q2 versus the year ago, and up 4.1% sequentially from the first quarter. Sounds great, but the numbers are still very small. 4,466 of the Lightnings were sold in all of Q2. That is about 3 times less than Rivian. Overall, Ford EV sales for the first half of the year were still up, but only 11.9%. For two companies that are trying to gain or even catch up to Tesla or overtake them, Ford and GM are not looking like two companies that are up for the task. Both had EV sales down, even coming from a very low base. And Tesla continued to grow fast, and so does the EV market, but not Ford and GM. And as Herbert tweeted, Tesla already has 52 jobs opening for the Tesla bot, coming much sooner than we think. Oh yes, I have made a video about a year ago that is already a done deal. It's only a matter of time. And Elon Musk was the first invited foreign speaker at the World AI Conference this week, being held in Shanghai. He shared his thoughts and development of AI and full self-driving, which he intends to license to other OEMs once it's mature enough. And about 2 weeks ago, Hallmark's catalog made a full self-driving race between Waymo, Cruise and Tesla. I just didn't have time to see it before this week, but all three started at the same time and had the same destination. Waymo and Cruise are of course fully autonomous, where Omar had to keep an eye on Tesla. But Tesla made an easy win, as it took the highway, which the two other cars can't do. So it took about 20 minutes for Tesla to do the trip. Waymo came in second at 25 minutes and Cruise came last with 29 minutes. So once again, Mary led. But all three cars did make the long trip across San Francisco. So also a win against all the people that say full self-driving will never happen. Well, it's already here, and Tesla is leading the way. And Lucid shows off their luxury software. Just put it in reverse and 28 seconds later, you are ready to back using the bird's eye view. 28 seconds! I don't even know of any software that has to load for 28 seconds today to start working. No wonder they gave up and just installed Apple CarPlay in their luxury vehicle, as they don't seem to have the best software programmer in-house. And yes, I know Toyota's breakthrough battery has got a lot of attention this week, but this is nothing new. They have done this for the last at least 14 years. Every couple of years, they come out and say they have a new breakthrough in solid-state batteries or other kind of batteries that never comes true. Just like this one way back in 2009. Toyota is just trying to delay the EV adoption because they are not ready. So they will just try to make you wait to buy an EV until they're ready by showing something much better is coming. As Brian from My Tesla Weekend also discussed with Herbert in his video this week, you should definitely check that one out if you want to dive deeper into this topic. Link down below. And apparently, baby deers is now being visualized by Tesla's full self-driving. Nice. And we are now officially in Q3, so don't forget all the cool stuff we have to look forward to in this quarter. As Tesla Chan wrote on Twitter, just to mention a few of the topics he wrote: Cybertruck delivery event, Giga Mexico to start construction, China's Megapack plant start construction, Model 3 Highland production and debut, Dojo training full self-driving neural network begins. Yeah, we have a lot to look forward to in this quarter. And I have just started writing some articles on Substack, so please come join me on Substack, your ultimate outlet for electrifying insights on Tesla, green energy and cutting-edge technology. I have some really cool articles coming over the next couple of weeks, so link down below. And I will be on my way on holiday when you're watching this video, so stay tuned for a lot more goodies from that road trip in my Tesla Model Y. And don't worry, I will, as always, be making my new shows, and I have other videos coming out as well. During the next 3 weeks, me and my family will be doing the road trip up through Norway in my Tesla Model Y, with tent and everything. So stay tuned for all of that. And before we end off with a bit of fun, I just want to make a quick shout out to my new patrons and members of this new show. My 2 new YouTube members, Tony Galetti and Nigel Wooton. And my 2 new Patreons, Martin Dijkstra and Rob Weeble. Thank you so much for all your support. I am doing this all by myself, but you guys are all the producers of this new show. Thank you. And a big and special thanks to Supporter of the Week, and this week's winner is Danny Rickland. Danny has been a thank you for watching members for 30 months. Thank you so much for all your support. Please contact me on this email down below so I can get your address so I can send you your Supporter of the Week winner t-shirt. Thank you. And let's end off with a bit of fun. Tesla broke their records once again and continue to grow fast. So you know what that means. Essentially, it's a busted growth story.
In a nutshell, Tesla is essentially a busted growth story. Essentially, we see Tesla as a busted growth story. Essentially, it's pretty simple. We see Tesla as a busted growth story. It's a busted growth story. That is effectively a busted growth story. It's a fact that it's a busted growth story. Essentially. And again, it's a busted growth story, and they don't have any technological disadvantage.
Essentially, that's it. That is the news show, all we have time for. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps this video out a lot so others can find it. And if you did like it, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. And don't forget, if you want to become an executive producer and get news articles every day, Monday to Friday, the video series Becoming News, access to all my research charts and spreadsheets, and get early access to everything, go over to bestintesla.com and join with the members button. If you are already a subscriber, thank you so much for your support, and if you want to support the channel even more, remember you can, for as little as $1, become a patron of this channel and get your shout out on this show. You can also become a member of the YouTube channel to get a shout out and some extra perks. Hit the members button to find out more. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter. I tweet all the news as it comes out and more. And check out the merch store to get some merchandise and support the show. Now it's also possible to support the show without buying anything, becoming a member or a patron. There is a link to a donation options in the show notes. And also as simple as hitting the super like button. But going forward, I will be making more videos for patrons and members only. And I will give my YouTube members and patrons early access to my videos whenever possible and make my videos ads free for members and patrons only. So don't miss out. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.